and when they get the product, whether what they expect meets the brand promise, and how you make people aware of the products through whichever channels you pass through. In the case of digitization, it's important that Ghanaian businesses brand themselves digitally. I was just speaking to the owner of Ghana Web, talking about statistics, and he gave me a very important statistic that I didn't know, just over lunch. He says that more Ghanaians go to Ghana Web than they go to Facebook. That's very surprising. I mean, more Ghanaians actually go to Ghana Web than they go to Facebook. As business people, we should know that. That's why I picked up the statistic. Immediately, I asked them, which type of people go to Ghana Web? Is it the people looking for politics or business, and how much does it cost? So Brandon, the channels that we go through Brandon in Ghana and the digital age will change. David, I'm sure that's what you're talking about. And branding the country and branding companies, we can use different avenues to reach that, but they have to be revolutionary and they have to be cutting edge. Attitude is your second point, and then that's been the refrain from yesterday to today, even to a few minutes ago. People talking about our attitude. To that, you added culture in your new discussion. Maybe I can bundle it so I don't have to talk about it when I get to that panel. But basically, attitude and culture affects the way that we deliver on our business. It affects the way that we live. And attitude and culture has an impact on performance. But underlying attitude and culture is also a value system that has also been echoed. If we believe in something, our attitude changes and our culture changes. So David talked about that here. We talked about strategy. There's no point having all the information, writing all the notes, having all the vision, and not having a plan as to how to go from A to B. And I understand David spoke about that. If government makes a policy, we elect the government. You repeated that point again. We have to respond to the policy. But sometimes in this environment, you have to be very brave to respond to the policy, depending on what you do. But David says we have to respond to the policy. We have to get up and say we don't agree, and we have to find channels to influence how the policy will be reserved. I had another number in the last but one panel that was very interesting. It had to do with the SDG goals. After all the talk about money and wealth and GDP and what business people have to do and so on, there was the 17 SDGs. And the main thrust of that discussion was that after making money and after being successful, countries and communities can not only look at wealth, they have to look at the overall value that it brings to society. We have to be ethical. We have to look at the way that we impact our communities. We have to look at the way that we impact the less advantaged people. And the word galamsey, which has become a very bad word, was mentioned. The number that took my attention was $7 billion leaving Ghana last year in galamsey. And I hear that's an understatement. I don't know how that is, whether that is or not. But the effect of that is that if we have money and we poison our rivers and all that, then it doesn't make sense. Especially when we're told again that $2 billion are coming back to Ghana in remittances. But we already took $7 billion already. So that was the SDGs. The question is whether Ghanaians need SDGs. We are sure that business people in different nations came up with these SDGs. But the conclusion of that point is that unless a people feel in themselves the edge to change something and build the ability to change something, it doesn't matter what framework somebody represents to them. They can only learn from the framework, but they will have to own it, they have to internalize it, and they have to effect it. Now, we had Kwame Jantua talking about Brexit, I believe. And in the end, after all that talk, people didn't even seem to be interested in the effect of Britain exiting the EU, in China, or even Donald Trump. We were reminded in the panel discussion that whether we liked it or not, all these people were supporting our economy. So in the short term, we will have to deal with it. But the private sector, whether because of Brexit, or there's a Mexican war, or the Chinese economy dominated us or not. We also have an economy to run here. So the conclusion that we've come to in this CEO summit is that despite digitization, some things have to be put in place. Government has a role to play. Private sector can innovate. We don't have to think small. Range Rover got a bad name today because some businessmen were said to be buying Range Rovers instead of going international. And in the end, even Mercedes was roped into it. But I think the conclusion of all this is that we are not entrepreneurs or business people because people force us into it. We're entrepreneurs and business people because we have a passion in our hearts. We put something in our brain, and every time that we wake up, we want to deliver products and services differently. So I get confused when people say that people should be told to go abroad to do business. They shouldn't be told. Every entrepreneur who wakes up has an edge to do that. If you don't have the edge, then you're not an entrepreneur. And this comes about because people come and say, oh, I want to be a business person. Can you create a business for me? You know, my friends. And I say, I can't create a business for you. When you create a business, I can give you some of my experience. But I can't create a business for you. Because being an entrepreneur is something that's in your blood. It's something that you wake up every day pursuing, whether you make money or not. Nobody can put passion into your brain or into your heart. So I guess that half of us are probably not entrepreneurs. The reason being that in the space that we're in, our space has not been dominated by real entrepreneurs. It's been dominated by political entrepreneurs and tender entrepreneurs, as they call them. You know, we need to see the real entrepreneurs to stand up. And to do that, we need to create an environment that allows them to pursue their passions and to deliver whatever is in their hearts and especially in their minds. Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, now about a resounding round of applause for Mr. Moses Baiden for capturing in entirety all our deliberations for the past 2 inspirational days. But we've made it happen. It always seems impossible until it's done. Who would have thought that the largest gathering of CEOs and business leaders could happen in 2 days and we would deliberate on world-class subject matter issues and come to such a conclusion? Ladies and gentlemen, give yourselves a resounding round of applause. Wow. And so this brings us to the end of this 2-day summit, this annual summit. But make no mistake, we're coming next year bigger, better, and greater. I would like to say a very big thank you to one and all, to our guest of honor, to all our panelists, our moderators, our speakers, but most importantly, all our sponsors. Let's hear it up for all our sponsors. We're indebted to you, from our platinum sponsors, our gold sponsors, our silver, bronze, our media partners, and to all our other partners, Deloitte, Kempinski, IVET, and Oxford Business Group. We say many thanks to you. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we crown this great conference or summit with a gala dinner. This whole place is going to take on a new dimension like you've never seen before. We're going to have a band, we have a guest artist, and there's another surprise I don't want to tell you right about now. But ladies and gentlemen, there is also a core card competition by kind courtesy of Margins. One of their subsidiaries would give to you, our dear CEOs, specially printed complimentary cards based on what you see inside your pack. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, my takeaway is simple. Nothing in life has been achieved by large numbers. From colonial struggle to independence to multi-party democracy to the well-being of our economy, it's all been done by a critical mass. Today, we gather here as a critical mass poised to change the narrative of our country, our economy, and Africa as a whole. It is my hope that all of this talk will not go waste, but we shall translate the talk into action. Do you agree with me? If you do, then please rise to your feet. Let's do something very symbolic to end the 2-day Ghana CEO Summit, set to celebrate you, our very CEOs. Please take out your phones, and if you may, turn them on with your cameras, or turn your cameras on with your back facing the stage, and making sure that the Ghana CEO Summit logo appears very prominently. And if you're ready, ladies and gentlemen, capture about 5 people within the precinct of your phone. So with our backs facing the stage, please. And make sure that you capture as many as 5 people within your phone. And when I say Ghana CEO Summit, you say a critical mass of change makers, and you snap one. Are you ready? Ghana CEO Summit.
A critical mass of change makers.
Ghana CEO Summit. Ghana CEO Summit. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is how we affirm our position as a critical mass of change makers. Please use the hashtag and spread it out there on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, that this is how we end this conference as a critical mass of change makers. My name is Jerry Ajololo, and I will see you at exactly 6:30 for the gala dinner. Thank you.